Today we have our beautiful Kristi Gage. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so excited. So if you had to introduce yourself, right, and nobody knows who you are, how will you do it?
Sure. So thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and we actually met for the first time at one of the Greater Reading Chamber dinners, and we just made a great connection.
No, it was great. We had so much fun, right?
Yes. And so I'll start with that. I really like to surround myself with positive people, and you're obviously one of them. I met Arturo in person at an event as well, and just very personable. So maybe that's how I can start to answer your first question. I myself, I'm a people person, and I love to make real connections. And I think if I had to introduce myself to the world, I would say, hi, I'm Kristi Gage Linderman. I'm a mother of two. I've got friends in multiple cities, states, and countries. And I just love human connection. I think it's so important.
That is beautiful.
I just wanted to know that I'm sure that this is recorded.
Oh. Yeah, I think it's this one.
Just making sure.
If not, I don't know what I just said.
No. We could just edit my part.
Cool.
All right. Bueno, enemigo caliente. Like now he distract me.
So who am I? I don't even know if I told you.
So tell me a little bit more about who Kristi is when it's not at work.
Sure.
Like, what is your hobbies, your passions, your dreams?
Sure.
Tell me a little bit more about you.
Sure. So I think like most humans, I'm on a journey to discover myself. For a long time, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do for a career, passion, and purpose. I think everybody's always trying to discover what drives them, what motivates them. So I'll get into the career piece, but first and foremost, I'll share. I'm so proud to be a mother of two young boys. I'm a wife. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. My hobbies include just getting together with folks, being outside. I love traveling. I don't get to do it as much anymore with the kids being so little, but that's something that I know that will be a part of my life forever, because that's something that changed my life forever. With traveling, I was able to study abroad when I went to college at Kutztown University. And just seeing the world from a different lens and a different perspective gave me a much more global outlook to just connect with other humans and understand that there's something so much bigger than what each of us just represents individually.
Definitely. So what countries are we talking about now?
Sure. So I might embarrass myself. I get nervous when I speak Spanish, pero estudié en España y Ecuador. Y cuando estudié, estaba aprendiendo más sobre yo.
I love it.
Sí. Para conectar con otros, ayudar a otros, y después una carrera de recursos humanos para ayudar a otros aquí.
I'm impressed.
So my grammar, I do struggle with the grammar,
it's
but
beautiful. No,
it's important to me to truly be able to connect with others. And I think at least if you try,
definitely,
no matter what language, I think that it's just so important that you try and other people try just to make that connection. So
yes, definitely. That makes you like, you open up in a different way where like that person is there that doesn't speak the same language. It kind of like feels more comfortable knowing that you are really trying, because that's not your language, right?
Exactly.
So I love that. So if you could live anywhere in the world that they don't speak English there, it can be any language, any country, where will you go?
If I could bring my family with me, I'd be back in Ecuador in a heartbeat.
Ecuador, okay.
Yeah.
In what part of Ecuador?
Vivía en Cuenca. Fue 3 años, solamente 3 años. But that was life-changing for me. Just being there and being part of the culture, immersing myself in the culture, speaking the language every day. It's part of who I am today and, why I'm doing what I'm doing here in Reading.
What was your favorite part of that time?
Truly just being on my own, being able to walk to the university, exploring. There was multiple ways to explore the country. One day I was in the rainforest, another day I was in the mountains, another on the beach. But truly making real friendships and real connections with people that I never would have met otherwise.
Right.
And I traveled with a group of students from my university. So, it added an element of comfort to know that there were other folks there that I could lean on. But I lived in a home on my own, and I really feel like I made my way, and I learned a lot about myself because over the years I struggled with just, confidence. And like I said earlier, just knowing who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing. So
Right.
it helped me gain some clarity on my journey.
I didn't know that about you. Like, I love that. Just the fact that, going to a different country, it kind of like when you were saying that makes me remember how I got here, actually. Like, it's kind of a story, but the other way around.
Yeah. It's brave, and you just go for
You
it.
just go for it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't have any kids at that time. So, like, it was easier to, like, connect more with people you like more time. At that time, I wanted to learn English
Right.
as well. So the same situation, but backwards.
Absolutely.
So how long was that? Like, how many years would you say?
I was traveling abroad for a couple of months only at a time.
So you like come back on time.
Then I would come back. Yep, it was throughout the summers. But yeah, having that, gaining that perspective and that clarity really did help me shape my future. I ended up switching my major for college from a business major to a language major. And not that I certainly lack the grammar skills, because if you don't use it every day, you lose it. It's true. But I remember people saying, why would you switch your major from business to Spanish? I said, because anybody can learn business. Not everybody can learn a second language. And it gave me the time to do so. And obviously the perspective, the study abroad is something I would recommend to anybody, to just broaden your horizons.
Yeah, I love that. So, why Spanish?
Porque nuestra comunidad
Sí.
es importante. Todo el mundo. I think it's just it's an easier language that I think that people can start to learn at home. I'm even trying to show my boys basics. But I just think it's so important, and it's a huge driver for our community.
Yeah.
And it's the fastest growing population in our diverse community and communities literally throughout the country. And so, seeing that, I don't look at it as a skill set. I look at it as a way to just keep that connection. And I think, for years, for almost 10 years or 15, 20 years, I've been trying to encourage employers, and there's lots of folks in our community who do the same, but just to begin to kind of get your staff or your team to embrace all the different cultures and languages, because I think it just creates more sustainable business and our population overall. I mean, if we're all working together for the right reasons.
And more around here, right? Our community is so, you have different backgrounds, different cultures, different languages, that I think is so nice to be open to, who's my neighbor, right?
Right.
And I'm sure, like, it makes you so happy to be able to get that Spanish out. Sometimes,
Yeah.
kind of like connect with those people. And
Absolutely.
as a Spanish speaker, I feel when somebody tries to do that, it's like, okay, this person is really trying to connect with me. It means so much.
Yeah.
It's not like me trying all the time to connect with you.
Sure.
It's like you're doing something else, to be able to connect with those people.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll be honest, it's sometimes that people laugh at me or people are shocked. At the end of the day, they're just grateful that I'm trying.
Right. Definitely. Yes. And that could, I would say that I'm sure you make people's day by doing that.
I like to think so.
To feel
It makes
like,
my day too.
yes, definitely, like to feel that you're trying.
Yeah.
You wanted to have that connection on their own way, right?
Right.
So if you could talk to your 20-year-old self,
Mm-hmm.
what would you tell her?
That's a really good question. I would start with be confident. Be confident. If I could elaborate on that, it would be follow your dreams. Think more broadly. Um, you know, think big picture. My 20-year-old self, I recall being terrified to go study abroad, but I forced myself to do it. So that's probably when a lot of my self-work started. Just really trying to step outside the box of what Berks County, my life was before that and what it would be for my future. Be confident, trust your gut, and stick to your plan. If you're really excited about something, don't give up on your dreams.
Right up.
Yeah.
So do you grow up here in Berkstown?
I did. Yeah, my family, pretty much all but born and raised here in Berks County, Pennsylvania. I was born in Bristol, but my family is from here, so they moved back very quickly when our family business started.
Right.
So it's funny.
When was that? What year?
That was in 1985.
Okay.
So I was just a baby at the time. And my grandmother had started the business after she had been let go by another global staffing firm.
Okay.
So she was 65 and she said, well, I'm not done yet. So I'm going to start my own business. And there it was. Started in downtown Reading, Pennsylvania. It's Gage Handy Personnel Services. And it's evolved into 3 generations of a family-owned business. And one that I guess I'll admit, I didn't really know that I wanted to work there until after my career journey brought me there. And that quick short story is that I started my career at the city of Reading as a bilingual HR coordinator, support. I really got to use it a lot. But I found myself doing more risk and safety related items and not working with people. I thought that would have been an exciting career, but it took me off track from my people first mindset. And I got my insurance license and I'm sitting there one day just working on policies. And I realized I wasn't happy because I wasn't working with people. I wasn't working with the community and I felt like I wasn't having an impact. I felt like there was more that I could offer. And that's where my gut trusted my gut, and it led me to the family business.
Isn't that so important to actually realizing, because sometimes that happens, like the everyday taking you places that you're like, okay, what's going on?
Exactly.
Now where I want to be right now.
Yeah.
So how, and this is a tricky question. So I know you're CEO of Gage Personal. Is that something that you dream about it? Like you wanted to do that, or it just happened?
It just happened. The way the timing worked out, I knew it was time. I joined the company. I was helping out a little bit for a couple of years in the evenings, doing some on-site supervisor management for some warehouses, distribution centers, but I had my full-time career in HR and in then insurance. But jumping to the family business, I said, you know what, if I can make an impact, I'm going to do it here. I sat in every desk. I still answer the phones. I still end up at the front desk. But I've been a recruiter, an on-site manager, a little bit of everything. Stepped into management in 2010. So there was a couple of years where I had no interest in management. So the more you get into a company and you do all the things, it led me to, yes, I'm on the right path. I'm on the right track. And over the last several years, my role continues to change and evolve because I have an amazing team over at Gage. If you're watching this, they take on so much. They help me create and deliver. So, I'm stepping into my CEO role at Gage now, only this year. Titles don't mean anything to me, but knowing that I have a team that can help us, connect with the community, get them to work, support employers, helping the employers to plan, We work with employers and nonprofits alike. I support a lot of organizations just personally because that's a part of who I am, by board service or supporting them with their executive search. So long story short, I know that I'm in the right place because everything I do, I can see the greater good and the greater impact that I'm having. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. And you do it with such a heart that, it just...
I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it.
Right.
There are good days, there are bad days, there are hard days, there are people mad at you if they don't get a job. But really, it's the bigger picture for us where we're just trying to make that connection, or me, I'll take it back to me, the connection for people in our community to find meaningful work in our community.
And that is amazing because I think, how many hours a day you work, and you have to be, away from your family for the things that you love, from the things that you want to do, kids, home.
Oh, sure.
And so be able to do something. I tell my kids all the time, pick something that you love, but it's not just about the money, because you're going to spend a lot of time working.
Exactly.
So it should be something that you really are happy with. And of course, you have to make a living, but not just, think about, okay, how much money can I make?
Right.
And like kind of be happy. And like you, I think your company is such a amazing, they do such an amazing thing because you have companies that are going to you asking for people, and then you have to get that connection, and you wanted to have a good placement so everybody, wins, everybody's
Absolutely.
happy. And so going to that, talking about that, what one of your favorite placement success stories for you, if you have one?
There are a lot. There's a lot of folks that we've helped connect into, their professional careers where, they can look back and thank us today. I think the most impactful was when I helped a gentleman restart his life, if you will. He was getting back into the workforce and really found success, but he needed a little bit more coaching and guidance along the way. And he ended up getting a full-time job offer from the company that we had connected him with. And the letter that he sent was just so heartfelt. And it's like, that's why you do it. So yeah, and I don't, it's always confidential. I don't have specifics for companies or employees, but there's been so many instances like that over the years where people just, I keep all the thank you letters. I have them all in my cubby at work. But yeah, I think there's a lot more people sometimes than I even realize that have been connected one way or another. Not even professionally, personally, I enjoy connecting others, and I've even helped people find their true love and get married. So it's just, you see the opportunity and these two should meet. It's fun.
Clicks, and you have to make the magic happen, right? What's the biggest mistake that you see people making regarding looking for a job?
Sure. I think right now, especially, there's been so much change in the hiring market and the job market that I think maybe people looking for work need to be a little bit more clear on what type of work is out there, maybe perhaps what the pay rates are for that, and more importantly, what they need to do to get engaged with their employer or future employer to learn how they can be successful in their role. You don't just show up and, punch a clock. You show up, you ask questions, you learn, and you better understand your career track and how you can grow. Always think bigger, but you can't rush it either. You have to work for it. Right. And sometimes we have folks that will come to our office and expect a job, but we have to coach them on their goals, their experience, their availability, right, compared to what the employers are seeking right now. And oftentimes it's the employer's decision. So how can you make yourself more marketable as a candidate? include all of your experience. My first job at the City of Reading in HR, I may not have had all the experience in the world, but I was willing to learn. And the woman that hired me really, really liked that I had also volunteered for nonprofits. And some of those were in alignment with, some of her goals as well. And I just think, again, you find people that are willing to work and do more for others. And I think that makes you a great candidate.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe because you do that, you don't want to put in your resume, right? Saying, okay, like that's not part of my experience, or it's not like job related, but it says a lot about you, right?
Exactly. I would always include that on your resume, any volunteer experience that you have, any skills that you might have. And most importantly, I think you can highlight if you have a gap in work history, maybe what you did or how you spent that time. And maybe it's learning a new skill. Maybe it's something as simple as that.
Right. What makes you feel inspired in the work that you do?
The people, always the people.
The connection, right?
Always
That goes
the
back to
connection.
that, right?
Yeah, it's seeing a team, my team, willing to step up and help others, and it's seeing our ability to make these real connections in real time.
Right. Now, to you, what are the 3 qualities that say, okay, I have a leader here?
My leaders have to be honest, transparent, and kind. Our core values at work are my core values, essentially. And I think everybody does a fantastic job of demonstrating them, but it's very simple. It's being humble, being kind, being a resource, and being accountable. And if you don't show up like that every day, even as your personal self,
Right.
how are you going to be successful in your work?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's talk about kids.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite topics. We know you had 2 kids.
Yeah.
5 and 7.
They're 5 and 7. I have 2 boys. Yep.
Okay. What do you love about being a mom?
I love they above all have changed my life for the better. They give me purpose to, keep going. They're still my little buddies. They still look up to me, even though Dad might be a little bit cooler.
They always are.
Yeah. But they actually help me find balance in my life. I mean, I can think back in my career where I was working 23-hour days. But now I really make sure that I know what my priorities are personally, and family always comes first. Business, certainly, that's always there in the background. I can't quite hide as a business owner. But I make sure that I pick up my kids from school. I make sure that I'm there for them. I have not missed any games yet for sports, and I'm really determined to do it differently. I was raised very much like most people were in the 80s and 90s, where we were by ourselves quite a bit, and I don't remember a whole lot of family being at sporting events and games and all of that. They were certainly there, but I recall distinctly always getting stuck at work, and maybe I have technology to thank for that. Now I have the ability to hit the road when I need to in most cases. So
how do you balance, home life, business life?
Yeah, I don't know if balance is the word. It feels it's management in a way. I have to manage my days to a T. You don't want to look at my calendar. But it's planning. It's planning to leave at a certain time. It's planning. And I say yes to a lot. I think I serve on at least 5 boards right now, but I can manage that as well as my work day, as well as the business operations, as well as my family. And with each year that passes, it feels like time just gets faster and faster. Yeah. And I'm more and more aware of being there for my family first. So
let's talk about those 5 boards.
Okay.
What are those?
I hope I can remember that. So I currently serve on the Berks Business Education Coalition, the Reading Berks Literacy Council, And I do say yes to boards that I see have a bigger impact or deeper meaning to me. So I do try to align them with initiatives that I feel like I can help impact. I sit on the RAC Foundation board. I sit on the Greater Reading Chamber Alliance board and executive committee now.
I love that.
Yeah, I am the Reading Hospital Foundation board. And I did recently retire from my role on the Workforce Development Board and the National Staffing Association board where I was president. So I'm picking and choosing. So yeah.
That is amazing. And what is, I'm sure that every time you are saying yes to one of those boards, like what are you thinking? What do you want to bring different? What do you want to change? What do you see that you can impact that is not done right now?
Sure. I hope to come to the table as, for many of the boards at least, perspective of employer and community. Sitting on a nonprofit board, there's a lot of folks from the nonprofit sector around the table, but coming in, especially as it relates to the workforce, because that's a huge topic right now. How do we build the future workforce? What does it look like today? How do we continue to build areas of our community that support the people? I can give real-time data and information on what I'm seeing in the market in our community, because what I do is talk to people all day long.
Right.
So yeah, I hope to bring added perspective. And I'll be honest, I sometimes sit down around the board table with some amazing people, and I worry that I don't quite belong in the room yet, but I'm always willing to share the perspective and always offering to help where I can. And it might not be always, leading the charge on something, but I'll help share insight or guidance and take something on where I can.
Yeah. I want to be like you when I
No, you need to sleep.
So I wanted to talk about a little bit like language and like I know that you care so much about having connections with like all the people that you had to talk through your day, and honestly being able to learn Spanish. That like it was a surprise. You didn't tell me anything about
I
that.
know.
I didn't know that. I could have been talking in Spanish with you all this time. So as a CEO of Gage and as a part of the community, I know it's important for you language, and like the different languages that we have, and cultures that we have in the community. What do you do that makes Gage different when it comes to languages?
So I'll share, years ago, we did bring in an organization. So we had RAC come in and train our staff on the day-to-day language. And I know that that's something that they still offer, as well as the Literacy Council, to do some training. I'd like to say that Gage, for our company, more broadly speaks Spanish. We've got some bilingual recruiters, some bilingual staff, but everyone on our team, even if English first is their language, can support folks with the most basic language just to make that initial connection and feedback and get some of our processes done. And that was important to me. And everybody signed up to do that. I think we had at least 10 individuals do that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, if you walk in our doors, I mean, we do try to encourage, I'll say this, we do try to encourage Spanish first language. We encourage those speakers to try English first, because there are more experiences and job opportunities for English speakers. However, there are companies that already have their processes set up to support a bilingual workforce. They've got their training procedures, their signage completed, handbooks completed. But there are other companies where they might not be that far ahead yet, but they're working on it. So we really want to be able to understand and engage with the employees where they're at. If they have a little bit of English, or if they have a little bit more, that would, support them in safety initiatives at work, and try to figure out exactly where they sit. And some people say, no, I absolutely need a Spanish speaking supervisor. And that helps us too. But we really try to encourage people to just be confident and respond in English if they can,
Right.
and see what their understanding and comprehension is in English before we place them. And typically a safety,
Right.
it's a plus for safety, for
And
sure.
it helps with confidence as well, because I know many times, when you speak more than one language, you're like, okay, which one I feel more comfortable
I know.
with, and so I'm gonna go there, right?
Right.
So I don't know if you would like to promote anything or talk about anything in particular that's important to you.
Sure. I mean, I talked a lot about myself, and I'll just say, how proud I am to be a part of a third generation family business, paved the way by amazing, family members before me. But officially as the third generation in leadership, I'm seeing us evolve and adapt and continue to just grow in additional ways to impact and improve our community. We're in the midst of our rebranding. It's 40 years in business this year.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you. I'm excited, and I wouldn't be able to do it without my amazing team. We're officially rebranding as Gage Talent and Business Solutions. So certainly that supports our staffing division, but we're also giving employers options on what they might need to support either their internal talent acquisition teams, or we can take on the full search for them. And a lot of people don't realize that we also have our Reading High School career program. Again, that is not for profit. That is us having an employee within Reading High School. And that's Jose. He helps students find careers. And that was maybe about 7 years ago, where the principal at the time at Reading High School approached us, or me personally, and said, I have a need to help these students stay in school, but also find a way to earn income for their family. And we've got to find a way to make this happen, and everyone's more successful for it. So jotted down some ideas, sat back down with them, and there was the launch of our Reading High School career program through Gage. And truly, it is designed to have the employer partners help with the students' accountability, that if something should happen at school where they fall off track, they stop going to school, they pause their employment and support them in getting back into school to get them to the finish line.
Love that.
Yeah. So it's really, again, bigger picture.
Right.
It's about building the future, creating a future that can feel confident and successful, and also allowing them to support their families, because we know that there's a lot of families that need that extra support, and it does fall onto their children. So again, big picture, but there's a reason we do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that, because I love that part that you say that they to be able to work and kind of learn around what can they do, but also that having that support that, like, if you're not doing great at school, because now money is more important, you can just go back and try to fix that
Right.
part and still working. So you're just giving them support in so many ways.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah. Me too.
If I don't know what else, still you have some. We need like 3 more hours. I know you had to go. We have to do part 2.
We can always do part 2 in Espanol.
Oh my goodness, I would love that. I would love that. I don't know, something that you would like to close this. I don't want to call it an interview, because I feel like
Oh my gosh, we're getting to know each other too,
right?
yes.
Making that connection.
Yes.
So I don't know if it's something that you would like to close with.
Sure. I mean, just in general, I just appreciate you asking me to join you today. I know your podcasts.
I am so happy that you say yes, because I know you're super busy, and like you just take a little bit of time for us to connect, to for people to know more about you, like Kristi, not just the CEO, or more like the mom the dreamer, like all the things that sometimes we're like so into work, right? That we forget about talking about ourselves, what we
It's
like
hard.
to do or be, or So I love that you just give us a little bit of your time to be able to get to know you a little bit more.
Thank you. I realize it's much harder to talk about myself personally, but I think that's an important, piece for all of us. Let's all work on ourselves and continue to remember why we're doing what we're doing, why we're in the positions that we are, or sitting where we are today. So
Yeah, and then you can actually, like, there was something that you said that it just really stuck on my brain. It was like not just be like going to work and clock in and clock out. What else can you do? And can you, even like relationships with your coworkers, or what else can you bring to the table? Like that's something that, nowadays sometimes we just, go to work and we do like what we're supposed to do. But what else can we do? How can we be better? Or how can you make the place that you work better? And if that's something that you care about and be in the position that you are, I think that kind of reflects a lot into people. And I just, I love it.
thank you. Exactly what you're saying is true at work. I take it personally. My feelings get hurt if people are not doing what they're supposed to be, or not trying to be a part of the bigger picture. Because if not, then what are we doing? We're all there for the right reasons, and that's really important to me. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time, for being here. You're amazing. And thank you for sharing a little bit more about yourself and your story.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Take care.